All right, perfect. We are recording. So we're here today with Stephanie Noble at Mothers Illuminated, and she is a sales rep for Pampered Chef. So Stephanie, tell us a little bit about what you do with Pampered Chef and kind of how you got there.
So I grew up with Pampered Chef. We are a 44-year-old company started by Doris Christopher, who was all about families. She worked outside the home, had kids, and decided she didn't want to work outside the home anymore. So she went to a friend's house and was like, hey, let's just talk and gather and eat some cookies. And she came up with the idea of Pampered Chef and just bringing families back together. So I grew up going to different in-home parties, or what we call cooking parties. We moved to New Hampshire. I'm from Pennsylvania. I grew up there, was born there, and had my older two kids in Pennsylvania. In 2018, my mother-in-law passed away. My husband's from New Hampshire, which where we live now. So after COVID, after my second was born, we made the decision and moved north to New Hampshire and to help my father-in-law, who is older and whatnot. And then we built our house. And then in 2022, November 2022, about a month after we moved into our home, I was 5 months pregnant with my third one. I was hosting a party for my friends. We switched to the virtual party. So everything we do is basically on Facebook right now. And she asked me if I would like to join the company. And I was like, sure, why not add something else to my crazy schedule, between being a parent and being pregnant and just moving into a new house. So I accepted. I said, yeah, let's do it. I love the products. I have to cook anyways, and I love cooking. So I figure, why not get paid to do it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in March of 2023, my third was born, and at the same time, I promoted to a director in the company, which means that I just had to add a team. I had a team under me. So the first couple months was definitely a whirlwind because I had no clue what I was doing, but I'm still here 2 years later, and I absolutely love it.
I love that. So you've actually had success in this, which
Yes.
I love, because we were kind of talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but like there's so much hate around MLMs. And I want to address that right away, because I think a lot of times, it's like you're a business owner or like you're an MLM person. And, it's funny because like I see all these small business groups on Facebook and stuff, and there's so many, like a lot of them have rules against MLMs.
Yeah.
And like I get it from the perspective of like you're technically a contractor, so technically you're a business, but you're also sort of not, but at the same time, like you're still earning a living just like everybody else, right? And yeah, you're a sales rep, but you're still able to do it on your own time. You still have your own abilities in terms of like how you actually sell them, what your strategy is. And then there's a lot of people like that start trying MLMs and they don't really have success with it. And so you've obviously had success. So I would say if you were talking to a mom that's kind of on the fence about, oh, I hear bad things about MLMs, I don't really know, like what would you tell them?
I think so. It really depends on the company and who you're like, if you have the support, right? So I've worked with another type company back before we had kids, and I had zero support, and I was done within a month because there was zero support, there was no training. So I think it really depends on how the system. It's all about the systems, how the system is set up, right? So with Pampered Chef, like I'm on one of the top team in the company. So we have all the systems, we have the support, not only from Pampered Chef, but also from like our direct upline, from our colleagues, from the other people around me. And when you surround yourself with a support system, you will have the success because you see that they're achieving their goals. You're going to want to achieve your goals. You're going to be motivated. For somebody who's on the fence, it's what are your passions? What are the things that you do in everyday life that you can simply get paid to do, right? For moms, for me, it was cooking. I love doing cooking. It's one of my passions. Why not get paid to do the thing that you love? If there's no passion in your job or what you do, there's no point in doing it because it's going to burn you out. You're going to question everything. It's going to give
Mhm.
you a negative attitude. It's going to affect your family in the long run,
Mhm.
and I see that with my parents. My mom's a tax accountant. She likes working with numbers, but she struggles in tax season because she's so burnt out because she's overworked, and she
Yeah.
doesn't enjoy it. There's no passion into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love what you're talking about too, about having like surrounding yourself with
Mhm.
people with a good upline,
Yes.
and just like with really successful people. And that makes me think of like they call it the power of proximity, which basically means that the people that you spend your time with are, mostly influence where you're
Mhm.
going to go. Right. So if you're around people who are having success in something, then you're going to learn, you're going to be motivated, you're going to naturally follow in those footsteps versus being around people who are constantly failing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and so I absolutely love that. And you were talking about earlier, kind of in your story about these cooking parties. And I
Mhm.
love that. That's actually a great idea
Yeah.
because it gives people the opportunity to use the products, be
Yeah.
like, wow, these are really great. And then I would assume it would make the sale much easier. But you said
Mhm.
now you're doing everything online. So how has that kind of changed the way that you do business?
So we do mostly, we're mostly on Facebook, and basically we just do create content. I try and get my kids in the kitchen, right? So my passion for my business is to bring families back to the kitchen and back to the table, because
Mm,
that's really what got Pamper Chef started. That's what our founder believed in, is really bringing families together. And I feel like with COVID, there's a new push towards that,
mm, mhm.
because we were so separated by the outside world and we were all squished in with our family. So people started cooking at home again,
Yeah.
and and now that the world is slowly getting back to where it was, again, we're so busy as moms. We're running to school, going shopping, we're doing laundry. Some of us work full time, sports activities, dance rehearsals. My kids do dance and karate and swim,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're always on the go. But I think that it's just about my passion is really about bringing families back together. So I get my kids in my videos. I will
Mm.
film my kids, and people struggle with that. I'm like, I'm there with them. Like, I understand those people that you can't trust on social media.
Yeah.
I think you, as mom, we have a mother's tuition too, right? So
Mhm.
if there's somebody that I don't trust on Facebook, I'm gonna block them. Like, there's nothing that's not gonna hurt you, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I try and get my kids involved in the videos. I do have them do the cooking. Like, most of my content is me with my kids in the
Mhm.
kitchen, because that's really where my passion is.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And I love yeah, just making videos of you guys using the
Hmm.
products and
Yeah.
have you found that sales decreased once everything went online or
Well, I only know the online system, right? Because I
okay.
only
Yeah.
started in 2022. So
Yeah, that makes
since
sense.
then, everything's been. I have done cooking, like in-home cooking parties, and I almost prefer that because, again, people like to feel, people like to
Yeah.
see, people like to actually look through the catalog.
Yeah.
So it's more of a sensory thing, but I mean, I've done really well. So I've earned several rewards for personal sales, and
Mhm.
I've earned 2 incentive trips with Pampered Chef. So
Mhm.
in my 2 years, so like it works.
Yeah. So what do your kids think about, you being able to do all of this? How has it impacted them?
They love it. I
Mm.
think they really see as mommy likes to cook, so we're gonna spend time with mommy in the kitchen, kind of thing. I don't
Yeah.
think for them they really understand why I do it. I think
Mhm.
they see it as a bonding moment and spending quality time together.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And then what kind of so kind of going back to the whole fact that it's an MLM and there's a
Yeah.
lot of struggles around that. So can you talk about some of the struggles that you've come across while trying to navigate this, what it was like in the beginning when you were just getting started and
Mhm.
kind of how you built up that confidence and built up your pipeline and your customer database and all those things?
Um, so for the MLM, I just kind of ignore that fact. Because I think if you're, I look at my husband who works in the corporate world, and he gets insurance taken out of his pay. He gets social security taken out of his pay, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
we might be commissions, and we might our boss is like a corporate company. So I look at it, I don't have to pay insurance. I don't have to pay employees under me. I don't have to pay like taxes or anything. Yeah, so I am commission based. I think of car salesmen, we don't have
Mhm.
issues with car salesmen,
Yeah.
so it's not, or like a waitress, they get tips, in some ways that's a commission,
Yeah.
and it's all about perspective. And I think people struggle with MLMs because of the layout of it.
Mhm.
How it's laid out. Yeah, we have to recruit people to be on our team, and yes, we get a cut of whatever they make, but at the same time, you get Social Security taken out of your paycheck. So you're giving the government a cut of your
Mhm.
paycheck.
Yeah.
So I kind of relate it to that. And it's just, I have a family. I'm just trying to take care of my family. And, I
Mhm.
just ignore the whole idea of MLM. And it's just really the layout of the company and the structure of how the company is.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And then so when you were getting started, what kind of struggles did you come up against?
I think it was just kind of, I wasn't really on social media that much. So I think just kind of getting my name out there and kind of really trying to create a brand for myself outside of Pampered Chef. Because, yeah, we get all their, we can use, they give us content, they give us a lot of our resources that we can use, but I need to add my own authenticity, right, to my content, to what I do, to my business, and really just bringing myself, who am I in my business,
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think like also, I think any business kind of comes across that too.
Mhm.
And especially when you're doing something that's like a sales position where you are making a commission, that's very similar to like influencer marketing, affiliate marketing,
Right.
network marketing. They're all essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. It's like building up that personal brand
Mhm.
and being out there and having a following and having all those things will get you so much further. But you started this without any of that. So I think that
Mhm.
that's pretty important too, to also talk about like, you don't have to have this huge following to
Yeah.
be successful. So how long did it take you before you started to actually see like the success? Like you were like, wow, I could actually make this into something.
I mean, like I said, I had a team under me. My
Hmm.
first recruit was about a month in.
Hmm.
But she was a good friend of mine from college. So
Yeah.
this, I tell people, if you're going to recruit somebody, this is a great way to connect with somebody new that
Hmm.
could be your best friend, later down the road. Could be, you know, um, your best friend, and just be a partner with you in your journey. And so we call it, cooking together. Um,
Yeah.
and just really about the family and the support again. And I think for a lot of people, I think the idea of recruiting is a scary word. Um,
Hmm.
but really what it is, it's just sharing your passions again with somebody who has to do something they have to do anyway, like
Yeah. Yep.
cooking. And like we all have to eat. That's why I tell people, well, I don't have sale. I don't know anybody. Well, we have to eat. You can
Yeah.
just give them recipes. And if they like the recipes, they'll start following you. And it just starts with one little step, one baby step, and then you can grow the relationship from there on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that, connecting it back to like, this is cooking stuff. So just
Right.
literally sharing a recipe, getting people to follow you because of your cooking stuff,
Mhm.
your cooking content, which is videos of you cooking and videos of you and your kids cooking and recipes. And then just having a link like, hey, if you liked the spatula we're using,
Right.
here's the link
Right.
for it. Yeah, I love that. And I think like, yeah, just relating it back to, they always say, you're not selling the airplane tickets, you're selling the dream vacation. And so it's kind of the same thing. It's like you're not selling a spatula, you're selling the cooking experience, or you're selling the delicious food that they can make with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so so it took you about a month to get your first recruit,
Mhm.
right? And then let's talk some numbers. So what are we talking in terms of, how much people are getting paid? What's like the goal here? Um, you know, let's start kind of diving into the weeds of what that looks like how much this can actually transform somebody's life if they were to go through this route. I've seen lots of people that kind of go at it and they make like some part-time extra income, and that's great. Like that's all that they want is just a little extra money here and there. But then I've also seen people making like 10K a month, off of their platforms as well. So what's been your experience with that?
So we tell people it's about how much work do you want to put into it, right? So what you put in, so this is again a business. You have to invest a little bit to get a lot out of it, right? So I typically work, I would say about 2 to 4 hours a day. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, depending on what's happening and my kids' schedules. If they get sick, I'm obviously not going to work my full 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I mean, our commission rate starts at 20%, and we have increases with sales. So like the more sales you get, the higher your commission rate's going to be. When you achieve different milestones in your career, you get an additional like 2% on top of that 20%, and that stays. So, I mean, we have people that do work at it full time, part time, and they get part time salary, or they get, and it really depends what you're looking for too. Right? If you're just looking for a side gig, then this is great for you. But if you're looking for, something that you want more, then you're going to have to put more into it as well.
Yeah.
And because we are a party, I tell people we're professional party planners, right? Because that's really the how we do things, right? So we do parties, whether it's online or in-house. And if you want to do one party a week, do one party a week. If you want to do 10 parties a week, do 10 parties a week. The more parties you do, obviously, the more income you're going to make. So it's really about what you put into it. What can you do? What do you want out of it? What is your goal? We teach a lot about goal planning. And as we end the year, we're thinking about what's for 2025. What is our goal for 2025? And what does that look like in creating a plan? Because if you don't have a plan, you're not going to get anywhere. There's nothing to look for, and so like I tell people, what's your goal in life? Do you want a dream vacation? Do you just want to make some extra income to get your kid to dance class? Like, what is it, the one thing that you are looking for? And then start there, because that's where the conversation really begins. What is that one thing that you are really looking for?
Yeah. I love that. And just really honing in on, exactly that. It's like, what is your actual goals with trying to do this? And, I teach that a lot in my coaching programs, which is like setting up that vision board, right? Which is here's where you're at now in every aspect of your life. So in your relationship with your spouse, and your relationship with your children, in your education, in what your house looks like, in your finances, in, your health, all these different, where are you at now and where do you want to be?
Right.
And then we kind of come up with like, how do we get there? Like what steps do we need to take to get there? And then you start implementing. And I think just having that clarity in the beginning really helps, because if you don't know where you're trying to get to, then you never feel like it's good enough. Right. But if you have a quantifiable goal of, instead of like, I want to lose weight, instead of saying that, I want to lose 30 pounds, instead of, I want to just make some extra cash. Like, okay, I want to make $1,000 every month, and so coming up with like really clear quantifiable goals really make it easier to be able to actually track progress. You can actually see how close you are to getting those goals. And then once you start hitting those goals, you can reassess and say, okay, am I happy here? Or did I undervalue where I'd be at when I get here? And maybe we need to reassess. But yeah, I love that. Just setting clear goals and making sure like you know what you're actually trying to get out of this business opportunity. And then, so why did you choose Pampered Chef amongst all the other, you were kind of looking around, you liked the mission of Pampered Chef. And it's funny because Pampered Chef is like the one everybody knows, right?
Yes.
But I'm also like, are there even any other kitchen ones? Like, I think there were some knives. Like I remember being a kid and they had like this knife that could like cut through everything.
Yeah.
That had sale.
So like you have Tupperware, but Tupperware is different in that they're basically known for their plastic containers.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tupperware is great. It's stuff that your grandparents had, and
Yeah.
Tupperware is still around. But there's been a lot of, my aunt sells Tupperware. So like I support Tupperware.
Yeah.
But Pampered Chef just encompasses everything for the kitchen, right? So we have gadgets, we have serving utensils, we have cookware, bakeware, appliances. Like we just came out with a coffee machine. So we have a little bit of everything for everybody, right? So we cover budget. Like we have things that are less than $10, and we have things that are hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And we have stuff for kids. Like we have a kids baking set. We have a kids. Again, we have a lot of our stuff is great for kids. It's safe. Safety is number one thing that we have in mind in our products. And
Mhm.
people are so familiar with our brand that the quality is just there.
Yeah.
There's Princess House, but I think Princess House is more dinnerware. Like it's more,
Mhm.
most of your other kitchen companies have specific products, whereas we have a
Mhm.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And it appeals to everyone to some extent. If somebody just needs a recipe, we sell recipe books.
Mhm.
We have a whole library of recipes through pamperchef.com. So you just go to pamperchef.com and search for recipes, and you can find recipes for almost anything that you're looking for. Say you
Yeah.
need dessert for a Christmas meal, there's a ton of recipes for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a little bit of everything for everyone.
Mhm. I love that. Yeah. And Pampered Chef it's like a high quality
Hmm.
product too. Like they're definitely associated with high quality. I've talked to people that have Pampered Chef and that's like their favorite whatever they have in the kitchen
Hmm.
is Pampered Chef. And they're like, I've had it for, 10 years and it's
Yeah.
still like brand new.
My
Um,
very first product was the food chopper, and that was probably 15, 20
I
years ago.
remember the commercial. I think they have those like commercials, right? The little food chopper ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I love that. And then so okay, what's your favorite piece that you have now?
So we have a deluxe multi cooker. It's a slow cooker, it's an Instapot pressure cooker, it's a steamer. You can do desserts, you can literally do everything in it. And for a busy mom, what I do is Sunday mornings, I will throw a whole chicken in there. We'll go to
Mhm.
church, we'll come home, lunch is ready.
Yeah.
So it replaces it basically replaces, I feel like, the crock pot, the Instapot, whatever big appliance that you use for quick cooking. That's really
Yeah.
what it is. You can do soups in it. I done a chicken corn chowder in it. And
Ooh.
you can do rice in it.
Mhm.
So rice, typically in the microwave will take 5 minutes. On the stove, it might take 10, 15 minutes. Rice in this thing takes like 3 minutes to be done.
Yeah.
So it's, for a busy mom, that's like the perfect appliance to
Mhm.
have. If you're looking for something smaller and maybe a little bit more affordable, we have a cup slicer. It's just like a little 1 cup slicer. And I love using it for my kids' lunches to cut fruit up, or it's great for like
Mhm.
fruit salad, or something. I have 3 kids, so making lunches for school can be kind of stressful.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of products like our cup slicer that makes it super easy and super simple. And my
Mhm.
youngest is 20 months, so we still have to kind of cut up some of this his
Mhm.
food for daycare. And it's great because you're not worrying about cutting your fingers. You don't have to worry about him, hurting his fingers if he grabs it
Yeah.
or something like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. I know. Like so many different gadgets. We have one of those instant pots.
Okay.
And I like it because it does everything too. So
Right.
like it does the slow cooker, it does the pressure
Hmm.
cooker, and you can make rice, desserts, and then we actually have the air we have one of those air fryer attachments to it.
Okay.
You can also air fry in it. But I gotta tell you, I use that thing. I mean, it doesn't even get put away. It just stays out on the
Hmm.
counter because we use it so often.
Yeah.
So I totally see the value in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then, so what seems to be the most popular one when you do like these different events? Like,
Mhm.
what are the things that seem to like sell out quickly?
It really depends what people are looking for.
Mhm.
I mean, the cup slicer is our number one product right now,
Mhm.
because people are trying to eat healthier and people are trying to be
Mhm.
more mindful. So for that fruit salad, It's great for families with young kids. It's great for single adults who just have to cook for themselves. It's
Mhm.
great for grandparents who watch their grandkids on a daily basis, because again, it appeals to every need and every type
Mhm.
of person that's out there. So
Yeah.
that is our number one selling product right now.
Mhm. And then have you come across, so you're doing all these different events on
Mhm.
Facebook. What does that typically look like? Is it like live videos? Is it like a Facebook group that you get people in? How do you set that up?
So we use Facebook groups,
Mhm.
and we basically, whoever is hosting, we invite them to the group, and then they simply invite their friends. So
Mhm.
it's not like we're reaching out to their people. They're inviting their friends, their families, almost like, if we would do it in home, they're inviting,
Mhm.
and it's all about, again, building that relationship in the group. We do a combination of videos. I do reels, especially getting my kids in the kitchen. So I will record and then do a reel on Facebook, and then I'll share it into the group.
Mhm.
We do posts. So, I'll take pictures of products, put some wording to it, and share it in the group. And then, it's about, from there, it's just really about building relationships and, hopefully hoping that people will comment, but we can't control what people do.
Yeah.
And I think that is the hardest part of what I do is, oh man, I didn't get any sales in this party, but it's okay, because I did everything I could do. I did my
Yeah.
best, and I think a lot of people, that's where people, say, well, this party didn't work out, so I'm done. Kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And then how would you say, like, so what's the percentage of parties that actually get a lot of sales or get a decent amount of sales, I would say?
It really depends on on the host. Like if the
Yeah.
host is highly engaged, if the host is doing the things that we ask them to do, then they'll have a more successful party. If the host is not commenting, if the host isn't showing up, then
Mhm.
obviously the party's not going to do well. So it really
Yeah.
depends on the host and how they're doing. So we try to really build that relationship with the host.
Mhm.
And then hopefully they'll start to get the picture and, do the things. But, life does get in the way sometimes. And,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so you're doing the Facebook parties,
Mhm.
and that's kind of how you're getting the bulk of
Yep.
your sales at this point.
Yep.
So, um, do you also like what are some of the other strategies that you're doing in terms of getting sales?
So I do vendor events. So
Mhm.
I will go out into the public, do vendor events. I actually did 4 this year.
Mhm.
And some of them are successful, some of them are not. But it's really about getting your name out there and building those relationships with the community. I just joined a great group of women entrepreneurs, where we get together like on monthly and just kind of connect and build relationships with other people.
Mhm.
It's really just, again, we tell people we're in a relationship build business.
Mhm.
Just building relationships, and once people trust you, then they are more likely to buy from you, or they're more likely to host a party, or they're even more likely to join your team, kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah. Have you had any moments while you were doing this where you're kind of like hosting a party or you're talking to someone and like what they ended up buying completely shocked you, or you're
Oh
like,
yeah, all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. I actually
What
have
was the
one
most fun?
customer right now. It must have been from Facebook. She saw a post of mine and she bought from me, and then we did I did my customer care. Thank you for your order. I appreciate it. Here's a recipe, one of my favorite recipes, whatever.
Mhm.
And then the following month she ordered again, the same amount. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I reached out again. I'm like, hey, this is your second order from me in a month. I will love, maybe you should host a party. She's like, no, I'm good on hosting. I just like buying. I'm like, okay. So several months of this happening, and so like I feel bad, like I'm trying not to take advantage of it. But
Yeah.
I know that like if I asked her, like she would buy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And last month I was like, hey, maybe, with the holidays, maybe it's time you host a party, and she agreed. So after 6 months of her buying, I finally got her to host a party, and like her party did great, and it was just really cool. And I'm like, See, the relationships do matter, because I had a relationship with this customer. She
Mhm.
eventually gave in, and now I can build relationship with her people and continue that process. And so like
Yeah.
and then the other day she sent me a message, "Hey, I'm gonna place an order." I'm like, "Oh, really? Like you just had a party and you just got all this free product and you wanna so
Yeah.
it's just, it's great to, again, building that relationship is really what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. What have you found is there like a specific demographic that you think does the best in terms of sales and parties and whatnot?
Honestly, I think it's the older generation who are very familiar with our products, because they
Mm,
know the quality of the products. And it's hard because like a lot of them are grandparents, or they have older kids, so they're not doing a lot of cooking. I have a lot of people that actually say, "Oh yeah, I'll buy this. It's gifts for my daughter, or it's gifts for my son, or
mm.
gifts for my grandkids, because they like what I have in my kitchen, so they want to experience Pampered Chef." So it's
Yeah.
really about, that older generation is really passing down. And I think
Mhm.
that is really cool. And I think that we are working on trying to reach the younger generation. But I go to these vendor events, and it's interesting because I see like young moms walking around and they're like, "We don't cook." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't cook?" Like,
Yeah.
and it's actually a new trend now where there are people that don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
And so it actually brought me to like really thinking about that, and like, well, if I don't want to reach that generation, if I, again, my passion is to bring families back together. If you don't know how to cook, you're not going to know how to do that. Um,
Yeah.
and obviously, the culture has shifted a lot
Mhm.
too, and so family structure is not what it was either.
Yeah.
So trying to take that mindset and like that thought and turn it around. So I'm going to start offering in-home or online cooking classes.
Yes, I love
Because
that.
I think using the Pamper Chef products, like it's not a ploy to buy our products. It's not a ploy to host a party. It's simply, let's get you back into the kitchen. Let's teach you how to cook,
Yeah.
because you have to eat. And people complain that they have no money, but then they're buying McDonald's every day
Mhm.
of the week or whatever. It's like, if you could see how much you're actually spending on food, on takeout or grocery shopping versus cooking at home, not only will you save money, you will eat healthier, you will feel better,
Yeah.
and it just amazes me how the culture shift has really
Mhm.
affected our business when it's something so basic like eating food.
Yeah. No, I get that. So, yeah, we cook everything at home.
Right.
We like don't eat out, and I cook everything, and I think we go a little bit more extreme than most people. Like I bake my own bread. We do like everything like from scratch as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do a lot of that stuff, and it's so funny because I hear that all the time because like we're very conscious of our health.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I hear that like, oh, like I wish we could afford healthy food. I'm like, it's cheaper. Like a big
Yes.
giant bag of
Yes.
carrots is cheaper than a bag of, chips that you're gonna last you
Yeah.
what, one sitting, and it's twice the price. It's
Yeah.
like these people, I don't understand it because you're right. It's like it's cheaper, it's healthier, it's so much better.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you not
Yeah.
how do you and then you're complaining about not having money.
Right.
So I agree. I don't get it either. But I was gonna suggest, it's actually funny you said that because as soon as you were talking about like, oh, they don't cook, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
gotta do cooking classes and
Yes.
use the Pampered Chef
Yeah.
materials, have the catalogs.
Yeah.
And like you said, like not a ploy, but just I'm teaching you how to cook. I'll
Mm.
like, introduce myself, talk about that I do Pampered Chef. There's a catalog if
Right.
you're interested in talking about any of the stuff you're using today, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then just like making a meal with people. And I love that too. Another thing that I've noticed is really popular now is like sip and paints or like
Mm-hmm.
those types of gatherings. And so doing something like a cooking party where they can have, I actually saw someone and I thought it was brilliant. They made homemade spaghetti. So
Mm.
like from scratch, with the
Mm-hmm.
dough and the eggs and all that.
Yeah.
And so they made everything from scratch. And they had a person that came in and they had a whole group of
Mhm.
moms, they all had wine and made spaghetti,
Yeah.
noodles together. And so something like that could be really cool, like a sip and cook party
Mhm.
for like, a mom's night out type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a really cool and effective strategy as well.
Yeah.
Just to get inside homes, build those relationships, like
Mhm.
you said. And then another thing that makes me think of it too is I know, like, as a mom that cooks, I'm on Facebook Reels, and it's funny because you know
Mhm.
how like the algorithm shows you things that it wants,
Yes.
like it
Yeah.
know what you want to see.
Yeah.
So like my Reels is like 75% people cooking.
Nice. I love
I'm
it.
like, oh, that looks good. That looks
Yeah.
good. So I was gonna say, even like videos like that of just like you cooking, and like
Mhm.
obviously there's you cooking with your kids, but even stuff that's just more like this is a recipe for how to cook, and look at these, because I can tell you right now, I've seen that there's like some salt and pepper shakers that have like the blue light shining
Mhm.
down when they do it, and I'm like, those look cool. I should find those.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So something like that I think would be effective too, where you
Mhm.
have like reels of these, cooking, and then just like a link for your Pampered Chef link that they can go to check out the equipment.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
But
do go live every Tuesday. I do go live with a live cooking demo on Facebook on my
oh,
public
do you?
profile. Yep. So
Okay.
yeah.
As I say, I'll have to get on your Facebook.
Yes.
Look at all the cooking stuff.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
love it. And then does Pampered Chef have like the different designs too? Or is it just
They,
kind of more standard? So like for instance, if you go to like if you go to Walmart, they have all the different, type brands and stuff that are there for the cooking equipment. But there is like what is it? It's like um Pioneer Woman, they have their designs, which are
mhm.
like, set up in a specific way. There's Rachel Ray, there's Martha Stewart, but they all have their own, designs and style.
Mhm.
Does Pampered Chef have something like that? Or is it more just, I don't want to say generic because it's not really generic, but you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like less stylized.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I think our stoneware is our most unique collection because we have like glazed stoneware, unglazed stoneware. We have like the original stoneware.
Hmm.
We have cast iron, and then we have like enameled cast iron. So again, it really depends what you like, what you're looking for, right? So I personally don't like cast iron because it's heavy, and you can't put it in the dishwasher. It's a pain in the butt to clean, but my husband loves it. So it
Yeah.
really depends on what your style is and what your taste is and what you prefer.
Hmm.
For me, I prefer the stoneware. The stoneware, it holds its temperature pretty well, and it gives like your cookies a crisp, more, it makes them more crispy or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, it really depends like what your cooking status, like what are you familiar with for cooking, and what's the goal when you cook? I'm trying to think of like the wording. What are you going for when you
Yeah.
cook? It really depends. Like if you just want to fry something up, a Dutch oven is perfect for frying.
Yeah.
Unless you have an air fryer. I don't have an air fryer, and that's one product I will never have. We had one, and like my ovens do air fry now.
Yeah.
So why have an extra appliance when you already have it?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but it really depends what you're going for when you're cooking.
Hmm.
If you're going for a soup, obviously the right type of pot is what, are you making a lot of soup or a little soup? What kind of soup? Cast iron is going to give it a different taste than, a nonstick pot is going, it's going to give it a
Yeah.
different taste, a different flavor. So it really depends what you're looking for.
Yeah. I didn't even know that Pampered Chef does cast iron.
Yeah.
Funny. I'm not the biggest fan of cast iron either, but I love my Dutch oven. I have a big cast iron
Yeah.
Dutch oven with the enamel, or I think it's the ceramic enamel. There's
Yeah.
something inside, but
Yeah.
so it's easy to clean, right? But
Yes.
you have like the heftiness of the cast iron, and I use a Dutch oven all the time.
Mhm.
That's like my favorite cooking thing.
Yeah, we
Um,
make homemade fries.
mhm.
And that's what we'll use our enameled cast iron, our enameled Dutch oven for the fries to
Yeah.
fry them up.
Yeah, I love that. And then, yeah, it's so funny. I didn't even know that. I'm interested in the stoneware one though,
Yeah.
because we have a pizza stone, and
Hmm.
the kids love when we make homemade pizzas,
Yeah.
but the pizza stone is like enough for like a single serving
Hmm.
pizza. And I'm like, I have four children.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is not going to feed 6 people. We need
Right.
like at least like 4 of these to feed everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And but it like I don't want to sit there for an hour just putting in a pizza, taking it out, putting in the next
Right.
one, you
Right.
know. So normally what I've been doing is just like sticking them on like a casserole dish, and we just kind of
Mm-hmm.
go like Sicilian style, just put it out
Mm-hmm.
there, and that way we can put a whole bunch of them in at once and make them all. So I'm interested in what you're saying, the stone ones. I'm wondering if there's like a big stone like baking sheet that we can get like a nice stone crisp on the bottom of the pizza, and I can just put a couple on them and get a, you know,
Yeah,
if
so
that's
we have 3 different sizes of pizza stone. So like we have the personal pizza stone, we have a medium, and then we have a, I wouldn't say it's a 14 or 16 rounds
Mhm,
pizza stone, but we also have like bar pans, which are,
mhm,
they're like sheet pan or cookie sheets, or baking pans, whatever you want to call them.
mhm.
Um, but it's a nice size. It's, I would say, I don't know, 10 by 13 or something, 11 by 13 or something like that. So yeah, we have
I'll
a
have to
lot
look
of different stoneware. Yeah.
after this. I'll have to get your link so I can check it out.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I was gonna say there's a couple more questions, I guess, just to
Mhm.
wrap everything up. But if someone was, interested in kind of getting into the MLMs, getting into the Pampered Chef, and they were just now kind of starting that journey, what's the
Mhm.
advice that you would give to them?
Again, find your passion,
Mhm,
and I have a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm looking for a new side gig." Well, what's your passion? I'm not going to push my link. I'm not going to try and recruit you until you find your passion. Because
mhm,
like I said in the beginning, like if you're not passionate about it, you're going to burn out. You're not going to be successful with it.
mhm,
You need to, and that goes for anything in life. You need to find those things that you really love and enjoy doing because you
mhm,
want to have fun with it. Because something like this, whether it's a side gig or a full-time job, it's supposed to be fun, right?
mhm,
You're working with other people, and if you're not excited about, say, your online parties, they're not going to be excited,
mhm.
and what you put out is what you're going to get into it, is what you're going to get. So I tell people, find your passion, what are your values in life, and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll make sure to put your link in the description to the
Mhm.
video as well. But if someone was trying to get a hold of you, do you have like a social media handle that they can follow?
Yeah, so Steph, the stay-at-home chef, or is kind of I think my Facebook, it's like my Facebook thing. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Yeah,
show.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's wonderful having you.